Most successful artists don't obsess over competition. They collaborate, they reimagine. Bring Me the Horizon, arguably one of the biggest bands in the world right now, openly admit to the fact that they rip off and reimagine other songs. Not only musicians, but the best people in any field. They don't compete against each other, they push each other forward. While you should collaborate with others, your real competition is yourself. Your habits, your fears, your distractions, your lack of discipline. That's what really is holding you back. In a war, who wins? The person with the most allies or the person with the most enemies? You decide. My name is Gwethan. I'm an entrepreneur and a musician. I'm the founder of Hendrick, and my mission with this channel is to share my wisdom and my experience to improve your life. So let's start off with the importance of collaboration over competition. Throughout my school, Hendrick Academy, I teach the importance of analysing your competitors, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you compete against them. So say for me specifically, analysing competitors in the online education field, I get far more value engaging with their courses and interacting with their products than I would purely just trying to work against them and see what they're not doing. Obviously, when you analyse your competitors, you see what they do well, their strengths, their weaknesses, and you try and find areas that they necessarily don't do well or they don't do at all that you believe that you could improve upon and fill that gap with your product or service. You know, it's the same with any sort of content or media. Like I said, Bring Me the Horizon, huge band, revolutionary band, completely changed the genres that they've been in many times, but they openly admit that they rip off people's work, or they don't rip it off, but you know, they make it their own and they take inspiration from other people. If they were there competing against every other band rather than collaborating with other artists, or you know, taking inspiration from other artists in order to innovate their own work, there is no way that they would have reached the heights that they have. If you're constantly worried about battling everyone else in your field instead of working with them, you're only going to be set at a disadvantage. And honestly, it's the same in most creative fields. I understand in business, right, you have your competitors and you should compete against them, but when it comes to music and art, it's completely different. You know, you should really try and inspire each other and work with each other. Imagine two of your favorite artists, right? They either compete head to head for headline slots at a festival, and only one can get the slot. I mean, that would be pretty interesting, right? But imagine if these two favorite artists of yours collaborated on a song together. It would just be amazing, right? It would be so much better than seeing them both compete against each other. Imagine if they went on a tour together. That, do you know what I mean? The collision of two creators is far more impactful to the customer, to the audience, than anything that they could produce while competing against each other. And you see, I feel people often look at competition in the wrong way because it should be internal. I speak from experience here where your biggest competition, honestly, is your own fears, bad habits, and procrastination, because those are things, especially as a musician, as a creative, as an entrepreneur, those are things that I battle every single day, and that is the genuine competition that I face. I don't give a shit about other people in the space trying to do a similar thing to me. I would love to work with them and, you know, learn from them and collaborate with them, but I'm not paranoid about whether or not they're outpacing me or how they're competing against me. Do you know what I mean? I only feel that way about myself, how I'm competing against myself, how I'm working against myself. When it comes to external competitors, I just want to work with them, because at the end of the day, you will get more value from speaking to someone with experience in your niche, in your field, than you will trying to work against them. Like I said, if you're in a war, you would want to have more allies than enemies, right? Now, I'm not delusional. I'm not going to say that, you know, you shouldn't try and scale yourself above your competitors, because obviously in business that is a real thing. But what I'm saying is you should worry less about what other people are doing and worry more about what you are doing, especially internally, especially if you want a solid level of success. You have to really master yourself, you know? You should really focus on your own self-development, whether that's mastering your instrument or your craft or, you know, whatever sort of whatever niche you're in, you should really master yourself. And from my own experience, that's just been super valuable. On a day-to-day basis, near enough, I interact with my competitors, especially in the business space and the business education space, because these competitors of mine, they are further ahead than I am, which means they have knowledge that I need, the kind of knowledge that I would only get through ample amount of failure or just hours and hours of research. And do you know what I mean? One conversation with a competitor saves me ridiculous amounts of time and energy and failures. So it's just another, it seems to be another source of development that people really neglect, unfortunately. I mean, this is true in music as well, right? In the industry, people are friends with each other. It's just one big network of friends. Say you're a sound engineer, you would be far better off being in a group of sound engineer friends or a network of sound engineers and just kind of picking and choosing the jobs as you can than saying, those guys are my competitors, they're my enemies, I need to work against them. Because when you have that stance, people will see that and they won't really want to network with you and grow with you and connect with you, which kind of isolates you in your own sense. But then it also means you're not necessarily hanging out and sharing value with these other competitors, which then means you're missing out on a lot of potential information and knowledge that you didn't even know existed. And I'm talking from personal experience here. I mean, for in the online business space, I've worked with mentors and various sort of marketing coaches and business coaches and stuff, specifically for musicians as well. So technically, these guys are my competitors, but the amount of value that I've gotten from working with them and just becoming friends with them has just been insane. And yeah, while we may be competing against each other, we're not. That's the power of personal brand. That's also what people neglect massively, because customers gravitate towards a personal brand, right? They gravitate towards a face, a person, and then they sort of buy their products and their services. So even if you're offering a very similar service, people are always going to come to who they like the most or who they trust the most. So it's kind of, you may as well share skills and share knowledge, because there's a big enough pie for both of you, is what I'm getting at. Like I said previously, if you master yourself and develop your skills and your mindset and your execution and your craft, you're going to vastly outperform any competitor that you have. And especially if you work with these people, that's what I'm really trying to get at here. People are always so afraid to collaborate with others. They think that people are going to steal their ideas, or they're afraid of losing creative control. But in the personal brand space, in the creative space, when you're making music or any kind of media, collaboration is just the goated sort of, not even marketing strategy, because it's not just about marketing. Like I said, it's genuinely important because it builds connections with other people in your space. If you isolate yourself, you're gonna really, really struggle. See, this is exactly why I built my online school, Hendrick Academy. There's also a free version, Hendrick Community. I'll be sort of pushing that more next week. I spoke in the previous video about how I'm kind of innovating and changing a lot of things around. So the schools aren't necessarily open right this second. I'm hoping they'll be back up and running next week. I've just saw a massive window of opportunity to improve, and I figured I may as well take it now while there's sort of less members and while we're just fresh, because it will make the school timeless. But why I built it is because it's a collaboration space. It's a community. People can share business ideas. People can connect with each other and network with each other. When I was at uni, or just when I've joined any sort of online school as well, or any sort of community, hearing people ask their own questions has been insanely valuable. I love the quote that you don't know what you don't know, because if you go to a Q&A session or any sort of lesson or a classroom or just a space where people are learning and growing and working, people have their own problems and their own struggles, but these are things that you've probably never even considered, right? So something that has never even entered your brain someone is currently struggling with right now. And the second that they ask a question on the thing that they're struggling with and it gets answered, you've already got a solution to that problem before you've even encountered the problem, you know? This is what surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals does. I'm sure you've heard the quote, you are the average of 5 people you spend the most time with. It's important because it's true. That there's no other way to go about it. It is true. And if you surround yourself with, they don't necessarily have to be doing the exact same thing that you're doing, but if you surround yourself with people on similar paths, with similar goals, with sort of, you know, similar ambitions and capabilities, maybe not even similar, if they've got aligned goals with you and they're way further ahead than you are, you're winning, because you never want to be a small fish in a big pond. You want to be you never want to be a big fish in a small pond. Sorry. You want to be a small fish in a big pond, because then you can constantly keep learning and learning and learning from these bigger fish. I've gotten so much value from surrounding myself with people who are miles ahead of me in life, but I never feel insecure or anything like that. I feel grateful to be around them because they have so much knowledge and wisdom and advice and expertise, and any question I have, they can just answer it in ways that I can never even comprehend at this sort of moment in time. So I'm going to stop waffling, because I've kind of got the message across in this video. There's only sort of so many times I can say that you should stop being worried about competing and only compete against yourself, because at the end of the day, if you don't get your shit together, if you don't have a level of self-discipline, a level of self-mastery, you're not going to achieve greatness. You know, you're not going to get where you want in life if you can't even master yourself. And that's coming from somebody that's battling every day to master things like discipline and just my overall capacity and focus and everything. I'm in the same boat as you, but the biggest mindset shift that I had in 2024, which just completely changed the game for me, was working with other people, and, you know, not seeing them as competition, not seeing them as, you know, potential people that are gonna take my ideas and do this. Just be open with what you're doing and just see how these other people can help you. Even if they just drop a sentence, that one sentence can change your life, can completely change your entire perspective on things, and it's just not something that you want to sleep on. So, like I said, my name's Gwethan, the founder of Hendrick. If you had any value from this video, please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend. It would mean a lot to me, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.